Hey guys, I'm going to attempt to make this not a boring video about the know, like, and trust factor that you've heard 1,000 times. Here we go. So I'm sure you've heard about the know, like, and trust factor a million times. When it comes to sales, people have to feel like they know you, like you, trust you in order for you to sell something. It's a big part of car sales, wedding industry sales, So when it comes to us wedding photographers, the big question that comes up is, how do we as wedding photographers convince perfect strangers that may have found us through Google, through Instagram, through like random places on the internet, that we are the person to come into their lives, get to know them, be this crucial part of their wedding day, like their actual day itself, and then be an even more important part in preserving their memories for life. So the stakes of trust, like there's just a level of trust that we need to establish, is so high and is so important that I wanted to make a whole video talking about this one little emotional piece here, because it's so important and so tricky to navigate, and there's ways you can do this and ways you can get to know people and show them that you really are a trustworthy person or business owner, and I want to chat about it today. And there are thousands and thousands of books, you guys know, on this topic of how to build more trust and say this thing and use the word you and use their names a lot and all these kind of like gimmicks. But I want to talk about my own experience as a wedding photographer and what actually has worked for me as a business owner. So the first thing is that face-to-face interaction has been huge. Ever since COVID, people are more and more comfortable with getting on Zoom, with taking consultation calls on Zoom, and that is such an advantage we have because that face-to-face interaction can be so helpful. So when a couple inquires with me, I have other videos on my exact processes, but basically I give them a quick 1 to 2 minute phone call, and then I send them a link to schedule a Zoom consultation call where I actually talk to them on Zoom, face-to-face, show them different things. There's something about people hearing your voice, people seeing your face, that shows that you're a real person. And that's really important because selling wedding photography, you're selling thousands of dollars, and it's very hard to do that without some sort of voice, face-to-face interaction. Just, whoop, here's a proposal. I've never seen you before. I've never met you before. So getting on Zoom and having consultation calls has been huge just as a starting point in getting people to know me. I do have a signature course. I've talked about it here on YouTube before. It's called Consultations That Convert, about how to have these consultations on Zoom with potential wedding clients. I've talked about that so many times on here, but that's going to be in the description below. But anyways, that is something that I feel like has just changed the game, just being able to get on Zoom with people or on the phone, because that really does translate well, and the things you say on Zoom translate also. I think a mistake some wedding photographers make is trying to impress couples by going about things in the wrong way. So what I mean by that is maybe crediting publications, or maybe crediting, like, you think that you want to credit followers or Instagram likes, and all of those things are kind of secondary when it comes to establishing trust. Those are all secondary. The first line of things is really going to be portraying yourself as an expert to this specific couple for this specific wedding. That is what's going to drive that primary trust feeling. So what I mean by that is when you get a wedding for a certain wedding venue and you have shot there before, and you talk about how that wedding venue is tricky or not tricky for photos, or that time of year in that area of the state that you're in, the colors for that, what is going to drive trust the most is tailored information about their wedding that you can add value. So maybe you've never been there before, but you're like, I've never been there, but I would really want to come out and look at this venue with you because I feel like there are some things that I would like to look over with you. And making people feel like you, not that you're an expert on everything, but you are an expert for them. And those are two very different things when you're talking about sales. And, when we're dealing with trust and we're dealing with sales, we're in the business of working with people and relationships. And literally, being a wedding photographer will challenge you in every possible area of skill set that you have. One of them is building relationships and making conversations. So one of the biggest things is just getting to know them and being a genuinely interested person in what they have going on in their lives. So a lot of my consultation call, I like to spend the beginning of it just getting to know them, asking them questions about why they chose this, why they chose that, where did they grow up, not getting too in depth, but for me in my business, I'm open to that connection. I'm open to dinner with my clients. I'm open to coffee with my clients because I think for me, that's what makes the job really fulfilling. Not all business owners have to do that, but it does translate to a high level of trust when you are willing to kind of get a little bit emotionally invested in with your clients. That's not business advice. That's just what I do. And that's what I think translates to a high level of trust the most. And I want to make a distinction here. Getting involved a little bit emotionally and like getting to know your couples does not mean getting rid of your boundaries. It doesn't mean that you need to be texting all the time. I don't text clients ever. They don't have my phone number. It doesn't mean any of those things. You can still be a professional and be really personable with your couples. One thing that I do specifically on consultation calls that I feel like really does drive trust is this. It's kind of weird to explain, but almost unselling them on packages. So when you say things like, this package is 8 hours, this package is 10 hours, the 10-hour one is obviously more expensive. You say, I don't think you guys really need 10 hours. I think you'd be good with the 8 hours. Or I don't know if you really want a second shooter there since it's only 10 people. I don't know if that's gonna feel a little intrusive. It might be too many photographers. So doing things and saying things that prove to them that you are not in it to make more money. You are in it to get what's best for them, because they know that if it's 10 hours, you're going to make more money. They know if there's a second shooter, you're probably making money off of that. They know that more work is more money. But I'm not in the business of doing that. But saying things like that and showcasing that establishes a higher level of trust. So as you're on these calls, and I go over this in the course a little bit, but as you're on the calls and you're making recommendations and stuff like that, unselling them or saying, hey, I feel like if you don't think that's that important, we don't need to do that. Taking things off their plate. You're probably one of the only wedding vendors that are going to be doing that, because the wedding industry is so putting so many things on their plates. Those little sentences really do go a long way. And then social proof. So what other people are saying, what other reviews you have. Whenever I send a proposal, I like to send a link to my reviews from other past wedding couples. There's nobody to talk about the experience more or to share what it's actually like more than your actual couples. So if you aren't doing this already, make sure collecting reviews is a huge part of your workflow. Every time after I deliver a wedding, I wait a little bit and then I ask clients for a review every single time. And I ask them to copy paste on Wedding Pro or Wedding Wire, The Knot, Facebook, Google. I ask them to copy paste it everywhere. It's a huge, really important thing to have testimonial reviews. You could even do a testimonial video. But either way, your past clients are the most valuable people when it comes to speaking to your value and establishing trust. So make sure you're actually showing your potential clients what they're saying in some way. I hope I didn't totally bore you with this topic, but it's such an important topic to talk about. I know it's something that's kind of common sense, but it's really not. So if you like this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week with more wedding photography business insights, tips, advice, all my little rambles on all the things. If you have an idea for a video, go ahead and leave it in the comment below. I'd love to look into it. And thanks so much for watching.